Hello to all of my new invisible friends out there in YouTube land. My name is Haley and welcome to my channel, my very first episode. I am very excited and nervous to start this sort of journey with you guys, but I don't have any stitchy friends. So I was really kind of hoping to put myself out there and kind of share all the fun stuff that I work on. So that's kind of my main goal of my channel is adult show and tell. So I figured I'd use this video to start to share a little bit about myself, show you what I am working on, and have a good time, tell some stories to my new besties. So about me, where to start? Hi, my name is Haley. I'm the Bookish Stitcher. Welcome to my channel again. I love to read, obviously stitch. I do paper crafts, and I do have a Cricut that lives in my craft room, which isn't really a craft room. It's just a room where I put a bunch of stuff on a table and it collects clutter. So I'm hoping by the end of the summer I can kind of have a new organized craft space where I can put all of my things out and give them the attention that they deserve and that I want to give them. I also have done some diamond painting. I have a lot of kits that I still want to finish, so probably should start doing that again soon. I do work from home. I've been working from home for the last 3 years. I really enjoy it most of the time, but I don't get out much. So my friends live across the country and none of them cross stitch. They do other crafts, but nothing that we share. So that's that. As far as when I started cross stitching, I was 17, I was a senior in high school, and I was dealing with a lot of stress and emotions, you know, the whole, I'm not gonna go to school anymore, now what sort of thing. So somebody, I'm not sure who, suggested that I pick up a hobby like cross stitch or needlework. So I went to my local fabric store and they had a bunch of dimension stamp kits, which I don't know if any of you know about the dimension stamped kits, but they're little X's printed on a piece of linen, like really cheap fabric. And like the points don't meet. So my first kit I did, and none of the squares meet, or the corners. So anyway, they come with a paper pattern and, you know, obviously all the thread that you need. So I started doing that, and I wasn't in love with cross stitching at that time. I was in love with the fact that I worked hard at something and I produced something. Like that became a real big theme in the rest of my 20s, is I liked to make things. So that led me, like I work in print, I design things, I sell things. That's why I have my Cricut, and I just need to spend more time on that part of myself. So anywho, bought a bunch of stamp kits, worked on a bunch of them, finished most of them. Still have a few that maybe I'll dig out and torture myself and show you those. But anyway, so I worked on those off and on, and I think I was 24, so that would have been 7 years later. I was on Amazon looking for some more kits that I wanted to do, and I didn't have any confidence in my ability. Like I finished these stamp kits, but they never looked right. And honestly, they never looked right. A, because I'm super duper critical of myself, and B, they were stamped kits. And probably C or 3, I don't remember if I was doing numbers or letters, C3, I was probably stitching outside of my actual ability most of the time. So yeah. So anyway, there I am shopping on the Amazon, and that is where I find printed canvases. So that was something that was really exciting to me. I had never heard of Ada before. So I bought one. Probably I bought like 5, and I loved it. That was love for me at first stitch. And so I kept buying prints. I finished a few of them. I finished fewer of them than I bought, of course. Some things are universal. No matter what you're working on, you're gonna always have more of it than you are ever gonna finish. So now I just call it like, I have a collection of cross-stitch kits. That's it, I collect them. So anyway, I really loved doing the printed kits. It was very meditative for me. It could, whenever I was really stressed or anxious, it just kind of like soothed my running thoughts. I got the benefit of being able to finish something and looking at this beautiful piece that I did, because they came out so much better. More because of the Ada, I'm sure, than anything else. So, loved it. I continued to do it off and on. Again, more off than on. I did have more friends back then who thought I was doing an old lady craft. Whatever. They're not my friends anymore for a reason, I guess. And yeah, so I was doing it usually seasonally. Like, it's something that I pick up in the fall and do until it started getting warm in the spring and summer. But I stitched pretty consistently during that time frame up until 2020. Obviously, very stressful time, but for me, it was more stressful because my husband and I bought our house, and we never really got a closing date until a week before we could close on it, because they kept moving it just due to a lot of factors. So like, we signed the contract in November or December. I think it was November, because I remember saying that I could have had a baby in the time it took us to get this house. So anyway, yeah, so we signed up. So, I packed away all my summer clothes. We set up for Christmas. I packed away all of, our knickknacks and things. I started to pack away the books, and then we were supposed to sign the first time on March 13th. And then it got pushed back. And what was really the most depressing part for me of the whole thing was I had to unpack my summer clothes and pack my winter clothes. But anyway, we eventually got in the house. I got a little frantic. Did a lot of upgrades. We painted the entire house. I bought a lot of furniture. I was working 2 jobs so I could make sure that the house would be perfect when we moved into it. Everybody said, "Don't worry, Haley, your house will never be perfect," yada, yada, yada. And then I needed to prove them wrong. So the house was perfect. We had a housewarming party beginning of September, and I didn't have anything. I didn't have anything to do. Like, I had spent the last almost year of my life focusing on this house, working for this house. And it was done-ish. As done as we could make it. And I fell into a really deep mental health crisis. It was depression, it was anxiety, it was everything. And worst time of my life. Anyway, I didn't stitch at all. I couldn't make myself stitch. I still worked 2 jobs, and anyway, I'm starting to get better. But the main point of that is no stitching. So I decided in 2021, so last year, that I wanted to throw a big Christmas party for most of my family. So invited everybody over, and my father's mother, my meme, came. And this is important. Don't mind all my other ramblings, but this one's important because there I am sitting on the couch with my mother, my meme, and she looks up, and I have the first printed kit I ever finished up on my wall by the front door. It's very special to me. First printed piece I finished. My husband came over on our first date. I didn't know we were dating, but anyway. He said he really loved it. It means a lot to me. And she pointed it out and she said, "Is that cross stitch?" I'm like, yep it is. And she said, "I didn't know you cross stitched." I'm like, "I've told you many, many times I cross stitch." And she said, "No, you didn't." And I said, "Whatever." Whatever. She said, "Why haven't you ever made me anything?" To which I said, "Because you'd get rid of it." Which is not me throwing shade at my meme. Is me simply saying that she's always downsizing. And because she's always downsizing, she likes to give away her things to other members of the family as memories, which is great. No problem with that. Love memories. But a lot of times she gives the wrong memories to the wrong family member. So I do have a bit of a problem with that. So basically I'm like, if I make you this thing, I want it to come back to me, right? Like, cross-stitching is a piece of me, for better or worse. Give it back to me. So I decided that I was gonna make her a cross-stitch kit. And so Christmas Day, you know, I go to my mom's house, we eat breakfast, I open presents, and I come downstairs and dig through my tote box full of cross-stitch kits, and I pick one. And I start working on it on December 27th. A day that for me will live in infamy. So I started stitching on it, and around this time, my husband's like, "You know that there's people on YouTube that do cross-stitching, right?" And I was like, shocked. Because when I first started cross-stitching and I had no idea what I was doing, there was no YouTube. There was nobody that you could ask. You could go to Google, but I don't even remember. You can Google on your phone. So I'm like, oh my God, seriously? So I went and I started watching YouTube. So this is beginning of the year. So you have all the whip parades and all that stuff. And oh my God, loved it so much. So also watching Flosstube kind of broke me out of a rut that I was in. So this has been the longest that I've stitched continuously in years. But also it made me realize that some of these rules that I set for myself that I thought actually existed were dumb. So the first and foremost being that I didn't have to stitch on anything monogamously. I could work on more than one project at a time. So I have one kit, the first kit I'll show you. I'm going to show you everything in order of when I started it. That I started, and then I put it away in favor of another kit. And it did not see the light of day again until January of this year. So I'm really excited that I can work on more things at a time. That also really keeps me motivated, because if I get really bored, like I had at one point have 4 kits that were primarily blue and tan, or blue and yellow, or just blue. So I didn't get sick of stitching blue and stitch a different shade of blue, or a different piece. So that has been great for me. There's a few other things that I learned, or that I don't know, I didn't learn, but I became aware of, I guess is a better way to put that. And so cross-stitching became a lot more exciting for me again. I was really able to fall in love with it, remember what it felt like to work on something, that meditative calm, and the joy of seeing something finished or coming to life as you're stitching it. It was just really great, and I feel like it came at a time where I really needed it. More so than I apparently thought I did 2 years ago. But anywho, let me show you my stuff. So as I'm sure that you have guessed by now, I am working on printed canvas. I do have a bunch of stamped patterns and kits that I do want to start working on, but I don't currently have the confidence to stitch on them. I feel like I would waste time and materials, and those are both things that are apparently very precious to me. So I'm gonna start sprinkling them in as I go throughout the year. But for now, just knowing that I'm doing this for my own mental health, working on printed kits is what's best for me. So let me show you my stuff. The first piece I'm working on is called Water Lilies, I believe. I threw away the original paper print for this because I didn't think I needed it. It didn't have any back stitching, and all the colors are really well printed on it. So I actually got this online. It took me a long time to find it because they don't sell this one anywhere anymore that I found. So anyway, it is, I started it in January of 2018. Not 100% sure of the day, but over 4 years ago. It was a needle kung fu kit, 11 count, 35 colors. And I don't know the exact size in centimeters or inches, but it's 194 by 358 stitches. So she's a big boy. And I am actually really glad that I stopped working on it, because you can't tell from the picture, but I'll show you on the print. There's a lot of confetti on this. And I just don't feel like I had the skill set going into it that I really needed. So I traditionally work on a lap frame, and this is basically just being held together with some masking tape and a prayer. So this is probably the last time I'll show the whole thing for a while, just because I'm afraid I'll never get back on. But this is the top. Roly roly. It's a big boy. So originally when I started right here because it didn't want to roll flat. So I started stitching right here until it started to flatten out. So anyway, that's that. I hadn't gotten a lot done when I put it away. I think I just finished kind of like right through here. Not any of the stuff up here, just right to this water lily. As you can see, I used to think I needed to work in a very straight line for some reason, probably because of my OCD. But yeah, I don't do that anymore. So you'll see I worked a lot on, I finished this water lily. I'm working onward and upward over here. My plan is to kind of work this way and get to this water lily. I like to save myself fun little details like that. So right now, like I did a lot of, and this is all confetti. I'm starting to work on a yellow lily pad. I'm rewarding myself for working on all this blue confetti. So yeah, very confetti heavy. I know it's gonna look amazing when it's done just because it's so big. Oops, put it this way. But the other thing that I learned watching Flosstube is I can stitch on things seasonally. So I'm gonna work on this until the end of August, and then I picked out a fall kit that I'm gonna start working on beginning of September. So I'm just gonna work on this in the spring and the summer, which means that it will take forever. But I do really enjoy working on it right now. I work on this kit probably a couple times a week. It's not one that I work on every day, but that's water lily. All right, so the next kit I have is a slightly smaller one. This is one for my mother because she said you never make me anything. So I'm making her something. I started this 2 years ago with the hope that I'd have it done in a year. I did not. So here it is. It's called the Seaside Lighthouse number 3. So I started it April 2020. It's by Needle Kung Fu, 11 count, 51 colors. The finished size is 23 inches by 18 inches. So this is the kit this is the last kit I started working on. Almost halfway finished, like so close to halfway finished, I can taste it. But here she is. I don't set goals for myself anymore with my stitching. I just find that it causes me more anxiety than anything else. because a lot of times my stitching eyes are bigger than my mouth. I feel like I can get more done than I actually have time to. Or I stitch slower than I think I do, or a combination there within. But anyway, I would like to have it done in time for her birthday next year, which is beginning of May. So I have just under a year, which I think will work. But anyway, once I finish going down this section here, I'll be halfway done. But here is where we are. I know, like, I'm like, oh yeah, I don't have that much left until I'm halfway done. It just doesn't seem like that much. See what I mean? My stitchy eyes are bigger than my stitchy stomach. Anyway, I've really enjoyed working on the sky on this. I like how like cloudy and stormy it looks, but it's another kit where I'm sick of stitching blue, for God's sake, but that's why I kind of go down and work on the rocks down here, which I think are going to be awesome. So that is that one. So the next piece I have, because I'm doing them in order of when I started them, is also my first finish for the year. So this is the infamous meme kit. Yay! So I started it December 27th. I'm calling it finished. I haven't backstitched it yet. Or I haven't finished backstitching it, or I haven't decided if I'm done backstitching it. I'm not really sure, but I'll show you in a second. So this is another one of the rules that I learned I can break. I used to think that you had to finish the kit exactly the way it shows. So this is a yellow bucket. Time for story time. This is supposed to be me and my two cousins that I grew up with, and family story is I hate the color yellow. I hate the color yellow with a fiery passion that can only be shown by a 3-year-old with a temper tantrum, which is how old I was when everybody realized I hated yellow. So it's become a bit of a family joke. Basically, my grandmother gave me a yellow teddy bear, and I thought it was ugly, and I didn't want it because it was yellow, and I threw a hissy fit until one of my cousins gave me a different one, which was blue, who I then named Blue Bear, because 3-year-olds are like super creative. So anyway, I knew I couldn't give this to her with a yellow bucket because of that. I hate yellow. So anyway, I changed it, and I also changed the spots on this bathing suit. So either way, you can tell this is me because green's my favorite color, and I'm wearing the green bathing suit and no longer have any yellow. So let me Oh, isn't she beautiful? I'm so happy with the way it finished. I know it's just a partial, but it was still a lot of stitching. I love partials. I love to see like the difference in the texture between the stitches and the fabric. I just find that to be very cool. But anyway, I'm pretty sure I'm done. I have until August. That's when her birthday is, to give it to her. So I still have some more time to finish it. But every time I tried to put in the stitches, the back stitches, it's like this pale brown color. Just hated it. I hated the way it laid out over the already existing threads. Like it didn't lay smooth. I tried a bunch of different things with it, and I just think I'm gonna keep it as it is. Like I feel like there's enough definition with all the different colors that they have for the shading on these that I don't need to do anymore. Like it is a little, you know, Minecrafty if you look at it too close, but I'm happy with it at the end of the day. So far I've just left it. I did the today on the sign, which I did in purple instead of pink, and I put in the post for the umbrellas. But we'll see. We'll see. I might wash it so it gets rid of all of the grid lines and then see what I think about it. But I'm calling it done. So I finished this a week before it would have been 3 months. So That's the fastest I've ever finished anything in my recollection. So, yay. Yay me. Let's leave it with that. All right, so the next one I think is one of the favorite pieces that I'm working on right now. It is called 8 Cats. So here she is. I got this one this year because I started stitching again and I learned about AliExpress and I spent a lot of money. So anyway, I started this one on March 5th. Like I said, Joy Sunday, 14 count, 23 colors. Finished size is 42 by 23 centimeters. And here I am with it. So I love this piece. It's my first 14 count piece. And I am stitching it in hand, which is why it's kind of wrinkly over here. So it's also the first piece I've ever stitched in hand. Usually I use one of my lap frames. But so I realized after I started it, I keep rotating my X's. So that kind of sucks, but it also taught me to be more mindful of that. Anyway, for some reason, like, I don't want to finish this in a frame. Like, everything else I have is finished in a frame. And I just thought it would be nice to maybe do a pillow with this. A small, long pillow. Being that it's stitched on Aida, I'd probably do it with like a lightweight upholstery fabric. But if any of you have any ideas that would be better, please let me know down below. I'm not really sure. I just don't want to just frame it or just leave it as is. That's kind of the big thing that I'm thinking of. Also, speaking of things that I learned that I can change, and here you can see some of the cats have their tongues hanging out. I'm not a fan. So, so these two here both had their tongues hanging out. So this one I completely covered up. And this one I just left a little tongue blip, kind of like this white one on the end. It's kind of what I was going for. So that's that guy. All right, next I have Cats Under the Sun. I started this on March 8th. It's Needle Kung Fu 11 count, 23 colors. Finished size will be 25 by 35 centimeters. I'm not gonna finish this the way it shows here. I'm not a big fan of what I'm calling the Picasso nose, or the football shaped eyeballs. So I'm probably just gonna round those off and maybe just do like a French knot or something for the nose, but I'll have time to play around with that later. But this is also a kit that I've never run out of floss working on a kit before, and I've run out of 2 colors already. Just kind of concerning, but there it is. This light blue, this light blue up here, I have to finish. I only have half X's right here, and then these yellow spots down here, so I have to go get some fabric for that. And the brighter yellow, which is this guy up here by the stars, ran out of that, and that's the backstitch color. So I'm not really sure why. This is my back. I don't know if this is a neat back or not. This is the way most of my backs look. You tell me. But there's no knots or anything on here, so I don't know where the rest of my thread went. But that used to be something that I was terrified of doing, is running out of floss. But we have a new hobby shop. Well, new since I started cross-stitching. It's been there for a few years now. But it's great because they sell literally every color of DMC floss, and our other fabric store does not. So at least I know where I can go to pick up some more of this floss. I don't have to worry about doing a weird color match. Right, so the next one is my second finish, I'm sorry. One of the other things I thought was really cool that people were doing on Flosstube was vacation kits. So I decided to pick a small kit and work on it when I went away for a long weekend. It's called Teacup 3. There are 3 teacups. So I started this on March 30th. It's a Joy Sunday, 14 count, 12 colors, plus I added 2. And finish size is 15 by 14. So like this picture is bigger than the kit. So anyway, this is my finish on it. I finished the full stitch April 1st, I think. But I came home and finished the back stitch. So I did kind of rush it a bit. So it's not exactly the way it's supposed to be in the picture. So I'm kind of wondering if like I buy another one of these and keep it and start it on another trip and see kind of how my skills have progressed, because a lot of it was, I got frustrated. Some things were really easy to do, but like all of this on this top teacup, my eyes wouldn't focus on it. So that's what I'm thinking, but I do still think it's really cute. I did change out the yellow here, on the steam tendrils, I'm calling them, in this bottom to 2 different colors of gray instead of, it was all supposed to be this yellow color here. And then this tea bag was supposed to be white, so I changed that to yellow, so I still used all the colors. But I'm most proud of this rose down here. Like, I think it came out really nice. Like, I like the stitching on it. So, anyway, like I said, I finished the full stitching on April 1st. I came home, and a couple weeks later, I did the back stitching on it. Because I didn't want to tackle it on vacation. I brought other kits with me to work on. All right, and now we come to the last kit I started. This is the only kit that I have that has a due date. It is called The Old Married Couple. It's right here. I started it on April 8th, and it's a Joy Sunday, 11 count, 47 colors, and the finish size is 57 centimeters by 46 centimeters. So I started this one because originally I had wanted to enter a kit into the Tunbridge Fair, which is our state fair, but I wasn't really sure what I was going to do. I was kind of, I don't know. My husband told me that I should check to make sure that printed kits counted and it wasn't cheating, which it's not. So there we go with that. But I had originally started the 8 cats piece to do that on, and then I mixed my stitches. And, you know, my mom said it's not going to matter, nobody's going to notice, but I figured if it's for a fair, I should do my best, make my best effort. So I figured like something like this would probably be a good choice just based off of the area. And I don't know, I haven't been to the fair since before 2020. And when I was, I think there's only 3 cross-stitch pieces that were entered. So I don't know if that's changed. I don't know if because of the climate with more people working from home, if more people are also stitching. But I just thought it would be something that, you know, I don't normally put myself out, you know, like this, or like entering something into a contest. So I thought it's something that I could do, that I enjoy doing with the least amount of effort and having to put myself out there. But anyway, so I started this one after I realized I couldn't do the other one, and it's bigger, but I thought that I'd be able to finish it because all of the area around the bed is half stitch for shading. So I'm hopeful that I'm going to get it done, but there's a lot of back stitch in it, and I need to have it done by the beginning of September. So I have 3 more months. But anyway, here I am on it. Here we are. So I'm doing that thing where I reward myself. So like I did a lot of this tan back stitch. So I'm like, yay, I did that. Now I'm gonna let myself do this foot because her foot's hanging out from under the blanket. And it looks like a chicken cutlet. It doesn't look anything remotely like a foot. And I know part of it is that it needs the back stitching. But I think the bigger problem is I didn't realize, like, I thought it was a 14 count, but this size, but I thought it was a 14 count, so I thought it would have more definition, but it doesn't. So anyway, still hoping that I can get it finished, but we'll see. I might enter it in the year after. Who knows? But I hate this canvas. It is so like starchy and uncomfortable to work on. I have been working on it on hand because it's a little too small for my frame. So I did get a Q-snap, but I bought an 8-inch square to see if I'd like it. And because this fabric is so stiff, I only had like 4 square inches to actually stitch on. So I did buy an 11-inch this week. So try that. I think that would be a lot easier than trying to hold on to this fabric. And the 8x8 I'm going to use on some of my smaller kits. It's just that my cats threw it behind the couch and I haven't gotten it out because I'd have to move the couch to get it. But that is all that I'm working on. I am going to be starting a couple more kits here in the next week or so that I will show you in my next video. I am so happy that you have come and joined me here, and please like and subscribe this video and hit that little notification bell so that we can join each other again next time. If you have any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer them. Just leave them down in the comments below. Just know that I am filming a couple of videos each weekend so that I can keep putting out content for you guys. So it might be a week or so before I get to your questions. I also, just so you can keep updated on my progress, just started a Instagram account. It's at the Bookish Stitcher. So please feel free to follow me over there, and I will show more daily progress of the kits that I'm working on, because I'll probably only do a video like this once a month just to show you a bigger amount of progress. And I think that's all I have for you guys. So again, thank you. I look forward to seeing you again soon, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day full of stitchy things. Bye.